Okay, folks, this is just an additional video to the one I recorded on customer pipeline use and instructions. We went through the BD toolkit, customer pipeline toolkit in that version, and most of what you would have seen in that is applicable to RMs, but the RM version does have a few changes, so I just want to highlight the differences really in the video. So if I could ask the RM team to watch the full video first and then to come and see this shorter video just to highlight the changes that perhaps you may see in your version. So this is in front of me, the RM consumer version of the toolkit. It looks quite similar to the one you saw in the video with one major difference. Clearly for you is an RM team, you're not interested in the suspect and prospect pipeline particularly, but what you are interested in is cross-selling opportunities within your existing buying pipeline. So effectively what we're looking at here is similar to suspect, prospect and buying, but it's cross-selling opportunities identified, cross-selling pitches made, and cross-selling wins. So what you are effectively tracking is the activity here rather than the activity at the start of this customer pipeline. So that's going to be different. You're going to see a difference on your front screen, and your hyperlinks will clearly take you to different places. Let me show you the merchant selection tool. That's very similar. It's, in fact, it's exactly the same format as the one you see in the video, so I'm not going to stop too long on that. However, what you do have also, because you're looking at existing customers, and this selection criteria is about identifying your strategic key and mass accounts, you also have the RM merchant stability tool, which we worked out and we worked through on the training. Let me show you the differences now compared to the version you saw during the training in June. The only differences are I've added more rows and more columns to this, so it goes up to 100, so you can get 100 customers on this framework. And you'll also notice that if you score a 0 anywhere, then that will just come up in yellow, just to highlight to you perhaps the actions or the areas that might need your consideration. So as you know from the tool in the training, these are our stability criteria or stability indicators. This is poor, this is number 0 is poor, 1 is better, and 2 is best. And I would score these for your biggest accounts only once a quarter and set some actions for prioritizing the next step or the next thing that you might do to try and improve the stability and reduce the risk. So in your summary chart, yours is a little different from the one you saw in the instructional video. It has an extra column, but it works exactly the same way. Here are your selection scores. Here are the stability scores for those selected accounts. At the bottom, you'll see the maximum scores for each column. That'll be different depending on the verticals, because some verticals have more information than others. And you'll have an average score for those accounts that are included. So if we go back up and have a look at L'Oreal as an example, L'Oreal's selection score is 20, so that's highlighted orange, so it's in the middle third, probably a key rather than a strategic account at the moment. And the stability indicator comes out orange, which again is about average, probably areas for improvement, certainly not yet green. Green is the top third, orange is the middle third, and red is the bottom third. And on our graph now, we can see how those accounts are plotted. And obviously we would like to see accounts, the biggest accounts in here, and for your smallest accounts they should be appearing down in that bottom left hand side. Now what else can we do here for our accounts? Well, there's a couple of things that I'd suggest we added to keep our activity in check and visible. You've got a column here that says month of first review meeting, and that will clearly include some sort of exploration of cross-selling opportunities. So if the month of this year, the month of your first review meeting with Singapore Airlines was February, then just add February in, and that will tell you perhaps if you're in June, maybe it's time to go in for another review meeting. And we can also get a chance to see the total number of review meetings this year, which again is a key metric within your RAC plan. So not massive differences from the BD tool, an extra column there, an extra area of analysis that we might want to do for our existing accounts. If we look at the portfolio analysis, this is again very similar to what you saw in the other video. You'll see we've populated some of the product areas in there. You can add more if you want. Let's just make this a little bit bigger. The main difference, it works exactly the same way. The key is the same. So op for an opportunity, that will be a cross-selling opportunity now. Pitch, that's for where you've pitched a cross-selling opportunity. Sorry, I've made a mistake there. We haven't got pitch in here. What we've got in here is value, because we want to be able to identify the specific different values for each of the projects. So if Singapore Airlines, we were identifying cross-selling opportunities for multiple products, we can add that in here, and that effectively tell us we're at pitch stage. So you'll see there with EPP, $10,000 opportunity there. Let's add another one here for batch. Let's say that's $45,000. There's a separate opportunity. So what this means is you could effectively win this one, the EPP one, and lose the batch one, and still be able to track that individually. In fact, we can do that very simply by the rest of the key, because if we win, we can add 1. That will give us an indication that we've won it, and if we lose it, we can put lost, just like in the version you saw in the other video. Or we can also even put live in, and there's a difference there, of course, between 1 and live, because you may have projects that are currently live before you started using this tool, and those would clearly have to appear alongside some actual net income over here. So let's say that currently Singapore is doing $40,000 of income, and we now know that it's probably coming from this product here, which is live. It might be you've got multiple ones live, and that value is a combination of all three. So we're not just looking at existing revenue here in this blue column, but we're also looking at cross-selling revenue as part of our view as to how we're going to grow each of these customers that we're working for. So we've got actual result, and we've got forecast of business coming through. And if I want to just track how long it's taken me to win, I can add in a month there for the first time we started pitching for a new opportunity. In this case it would be Moto, because it's the only new opportunity that we have in our portfolio, in our product portfolio. Obviously if it's September and I'm looking back and we still haven't won this, then that would be a question that we would have to discuss in a one-to-one as a way of deciding whether we pursue it or whether we remove it from our pipeline altogether, because we don't feel that we have the opportunity to win. Your probability analysis is the same as the one you saw in the instructional video, so I won't delay too much on that. The targets listed in your target sheet, again, exactly the same structure. What you will find though is that some of the metrics on the left hand side are different. We refer to cross-selling opportunities and pitches and the conversion rates between those things rather than suspects and prospects, but in principle they're exactly the same. It's exactly the same way of working it through, and only where you see the green or red do you need to add a figure in as a benchmark. If we then look at your dashboard, exactly the same view. The dashboard will be working out, just like the BD version, your conversion rates. It will be working out your quantities needed, and it will be working out your direction through average spend. The only major differences here on this sheet are you have two areas on your readout at the top here. One is average cross-selling value, and one is average buying pipeline spend. So the average buying pipeline spend is based on the number of active accounts you've got. So if you can see here it says 40,000, and there's one active account which I know from here. So here's my one active account, Singapore Airlines, and there's the amount that they've spent with us. But I also have a average cross-selling value, which is at the moment 3,000. and again that's based on only one opportunity of 3,000 Singapore dollars in our pipeline coming through. Why do I need that? Because obviously the activity that's coming through here, which is cross-selling opportunities, cross-selling pitches and cross-selling wins, is based on this average cross-selling spend, not the average buying pipeline spend. So if we look through here, here's our gap. We haven't put a target in, so the gap is minus. Let's put a target in quickly. Let's say it's 100,000 on our target sheet over here. Changes that into our red, and then let's look at our dashboard again. So now we've got $100,000 target. We've actually seen $40,000 of sales so far, which gives us a $60,000 gap, which means we need to win 20 cross-selling opportunities at $3,000 each. And then the activity you'll see going through, because we haven't filled this sheet in quite so much, is not showing us a particularly rosy picture. But really, it's exactly the same principles as the other instructional video I've downloaded. The only difference is what you're actually going after and what you're tracking within the pipeline tool. And as before, if there's any questions you have and you want to go through this in any detail, you can give me a call, send me an email. As you send these to me, I will identify whether there's errors or whether there's things perhaps you're missing out, and I will email you back with some additions that you perhaps need to add. Don't forget, this is a exercise for the next 6 months to start to put us in a position for 2019, and this will allow us to get some really valuable information about sales performance individually so that we can organize our efforts into 2019.